Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome back to another World of Tanks replay. This one is courtesy of yours truly. Now, this was from before Christmas. This is toward the beginning of the Battle Pass, and if you've watched, followed, whatever, this channel for any period of time, you'll know that I'm a bit of a fan of the Jagdpanzer IV. I don't think it's overpowered, but I do rather have fun in it. This is Tier 6 German tank destroyer. And, well, as part of the Battle Pass, you can play Tier 6 and up tanks, so I thought I'd jump in this. This is the first game I played in the Flak Panzer since returning to the game in the autumn. And straight away you can see I've got pretty nice matchmaking here. This is at 357, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, it's 366 if we're going to be pedantic. But it's the 357 template. Firmer matchmaking here, I am one of the three. And for a tank like the Flat Panzer, where the downsides are kind of dubious shell velocity and suboptimal penetration, and the upside is hilarious DPM, matches like this make you salivate. Hello, Mr. M4, how are you today? So for anyone who doesn't know, the Flat Panzer has the highest base DPM of any Tier 6 tank, which is fun. Some people don't like, because the downside is that you have 140 something penetration, 145, and your shell velocity isn't great. And you're going to see those things are going to be biting us on the backside a little bit, but we'll just go for, oh, I thought he was going to juke to his right. Just go for a shot there on the M4A1. So yeah, this was the first game I played in this thing since returning to the game. And hello, Mr. T1 Heavy. Let's see if we can shoot you up a little bit. Trying to adjust for the dodgy shell velocity. Interestingly, though, the shell velocity of this gun, this is the 88mm gun for anyone who's curious. The shell velocity on this gun is comparable, that was a bad shot, to the shell velocity on the American mid-tier 76mm. And I was playing the Sherman Easy-8 quite a lot this time. So actually, leading shots, whilst I'm not going to say it's easy with this shell velocity at long range, the two have sort of similar kind of lead times required. And so there was a little bit of, managing to make it work by being used to the sort of shell travel time, I suppose. Anyway, the scoreline's 2-1. I've just been farming some people at longer range here. I'm taking a couple of blind shots at where I think the Stug 4 is, or where he was last spotted. Hello, Mr. Achilles. How are you today? Your armor sucks, and you're just going to sit out in the open, are you? Cool. Anyone going to pick up the kill, or am I going to be left to take it? I haven't yet got a kill. It'd be nice to have one. Oh, there we go. There's kill number 1, and we make it over 1,000 damage. Yay! Hurrah! So I have a sub 4.5 second reload with this gun and my setup. My setup, by the way, it's not maximising DPM. I've got improved rotation mechanism in the firepower slot for better gun handling, to make things a bit nicer on the move, and then I've got rammer and I've got binos. I am actually considering using a turbo on this thing, because as you can see here, the reverse speed is pretty painful, and I think the extra mobility would really help. Now, I'm about to do something that's a bit dubious. Nah, we'll see it, and I'll explain it as we go. So we're going to see a Cavalier in a moment, and I decide to go and try and get the damage on that Cavalier. Now, you could argue this is greedy, and I think you would be correct in doing so, but my thinking behind this was, Cavalier, I don't want him getting under our gun line, if you will. Because that will spot the Stug or the Hetzer or the two Panzers or whatever who are camping over to my right. Oh, could spot me. And you'll see me do it in a moment. And if I go for this guy, I can kill him relatively quickly because of my high DPM. And I reckon because I'm top tier, I can get away with this whilst taking minimal damage. I get a little bit screwed over by the gun depression there. And also in the background, goodbye Mr. Cavalier, there we go, there's the play I'm talking about. In the background, I was expecting a Stug 4 and maybe the T1 Heavy. Stug 4's gun isn't the most damaging gun in the world, and the T1 Heavy, if he is back there, he's not a very good player and maybe doesn't have a good crew, and essentially, there we go. This is a long-winded way of saying I reckoned I could get away with it even though it was greedy. Now, I do not recommend that sort of play in general. You can see I lost about a third of my hit points for doing it. I do not, in general, recommend it. But, in that situation, it actually worked out okay. So, swings and roundabouts. Now, I decide to try and do something about this Chi-He and the 14 TP, but I probably needn't have bothered. Hetzer takes out the Chi-He, and then Panzer IV takes out the 14 TP. We're actually winning on kills, but we've lost that sort of A1 corner of the map. So what I'm planning to do here is get back to a bit more of a defensive location, and we're going to see if those Soviet heavies push through, as they are doing. Now, KV-1 and KV-2 are decent tanks, but they have cripplingly poor view range. And so I reckon that we can outspot them, and I can shred them. That is the plan. Again, with the caveat that this gun isn't the best at longer ranges. And you can already see I'm down to 15 rounds of armor piercing. And I don't exactly, you know, load up on loads of APCR. But nonetheless, I'm trying to get back into a more defensible location. Like I said, I'm going to try and shoot these guys. If we can kill the KV-1 and the KV-2, then I think that's really going to open this game up, and we can do some pretty disgusting things and take down the rest of the enemy. So KV-1 at side on, so this should be relatively easy, and we track him. No actual hit point damage, we just track him. Although people are shooting the guy, to be fair. Going for the next shot, which damages his tracks again. I'm really not getting very lucky with these shots. There's crud in the way, it looks like, to be fair. Oh, there we go. Side of the turret, maybe. No, these shots are just being awful. One more. Maybe that did damage. Maybe not. And there's the KV-2, who takes down our Hetzer. And there we go. The KV-2 is actually the worse armoured of the two tanks. Essentially it has the same hull as the KV-1, but with a worse turret. Missed that shot on the tank. Come on, 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 come on. Through the gap, mate. There we go. One more shot to kill this guy. And there we are. He becomes my 4th kill. KV-1 now. Oh, he's on 9 hit points. That was a high damage roll. I really can't complain too much about it. And the Stug takes him down. And suddenly, we're 12-11 up. And the enemy consists of a P2640, a Stug 4, and a T1 Heavy. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now, Stug 4 and the T1 Heavy were camping the last we saw them, and the P2640, bless his heart, he's a tier 4. Even in close range fisticuffs, I'm pretty sure I can have him with about 2 shots. He'll die very quickly. And so, we're going to go hunting. I'm not camping for this. I'm pretty confident in the Flat Panzer's ability to go hunting, and in this sort of situation... Oh. Hello, Mr. P26. Do I have shots on this guy? No, it doesn't look like it. I'm actually pretty confident in the Flat Panzer's ability to take these guys out at closer range because of the high DPM, the fact that I'm using a rotation mechanism to help with the gun handling. It does have a little bit of armour, which helps against lower tiers. It's not infallible, but it does help. There we go. He's dead at kill number 5. And... oh, sorry, Mr. Stug. And even if you're not able to just keep firing on reload and using your raw DPM, you do still have 220 alpha damage to be using. So, we are going to go and find the T1 Heavy and the Stug 4. Now, it takes a little bit of time to find these guys, but they're going to give their position away in a moment. You'll see when we get there. Now, I'm just going to speed this along a little. We're currently capping the base as well, which, as a precaution, fine, sure, whatever. I've got no problem with that. I'm down to 4 rounds of armor piercing, by the way. It's not that often you have to fire these many rounds to carry a tier 6 game, but, you know, it is what it is. So, our Panzer IV's capping. Our Stug 3G goes around one side of that rock. I go around the other, just looking for the Stug 4 and the T1 Heavy. Now, what's interesting here is I don't think the T1 Heavy is a very good player, so he probably doesn't have a very good crew, and that's because essentially he was camping in a heavy tank, basically. He probably doesn't have a very good crew, and the T1 Heavy does not have a very good base view range. Did you notice, by the way, the base capture got blocked? So that means at least one of them is in the cap circle. Oh, look, it's a T1 Heavy. Let's just wait for my binos to come up. Oh, I put a shot into him and don't get spotted. Oh, lovely. Oh, that was a terrible shot. Now, I'm actually pulling back here. I'm not sure if I'm not going to get spotted. Oh, there's the Stug. They're both in the base. So we can just farm them. Alright. Low damage roll unfortunately leaves the guy on 27 hit points, so I have to resort to using APCR because I'm out of armor piercing ammo. I realise at this point that my camo's holding up, so I just execute them, and that's the game. I mean, not really much fancy at the end, just murdering peeps when you can. Anyway, that was the game. Let's have a look at the post-game stats. So that actually ended up being enough for Ace, Tanker, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Bruiser, High Caliber, and a Top Gun medal. Not too shabby for my first game in the tank in a long, long time. I was actually quite pleased with that. Finishing top of our team, however you choose to measure it, 3,675 damage done, 7 kills, or 1,374 base experience. Incidentally, that makes it, I believe, my second highest, or it means the Flat Panzer becomes the tank at tier 6 with my second highest damage count in a single battle, if that makes sense. Bumps the Easy 8 Sherman down to 3rd place, and the Bromwell, or Cromwell Berlin, down to 4th place. And top place, KV2, because Russian things, I guess. Anyway, that was quite nice. It seems that the enemy was being carried by their T-34-85M. I don't think I actually had the opportunity to do much to him. Never even shot the guy. But, well, shout out to him. Almost 3,000 damage to him, and commiserations that it wasn't enough to get a win for his team. 36 shots fired, 27 hits, 19 pens for that damage count, most of which was from greater distance. 5 hits received, 3 penned, 2 didn't, 160 damage blocked by our armour. 10 enemy vehicles damaged, 7 killed, sadly not 8, otherwise it could have been a Radley Walters medal, but I'm not going to worry too much about it, let's be honest. 187 assistance damage, 3 kilometres travelled for that 10-minute game. Standard account, so, but still, what, 29,000 credits profit? We didn't fire any gold until right at the end, where we'd run out of armour piercing, so we fired a couple of rounds of it. And, yeah, nice amount of experience as well. Ended up being a pretty good result. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed that game there in the mighty Flat Panzer. I'll have another Flat Panzer game for you in the future, and some other offerings, of course. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having fun doing whatever it is you're doing. If you're playing games, I hope you're enjoying that. I hope you're managing to keep yourselves out of the way and nice and safe and all that jazz. And as ever, I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.